Hello, Kagglers. Let me real quick tweet that we are live so folks know about it. Starting now. All right. Hello. I'm going to do the ceremonial wait for the stream to catch up with me. And there we go. Excellent. That sounds good. Get rid of this. Hi. Today we're going to be working on a continuation of the project we've been working on for a while. But if you haven't been following the project, that is a-okay. Because, hi Sriram. Hello, yeah. Because we're going to be working on taking existing code and prettying it up. So those of you who are working in data science, I'm sure you have some existing code somewhere, and we're going to try and make ours a little bit nicer. So this is the project that we've been working on. Let's edit this guy. Fantastic, that bug was fixed. Constant improvement, y'all. So what this bit of code does is it takes an sample of the Kaggle forums. In this case, you can specify the number of days that you want to look at, and it will take and cluster the information from those forum posts and then give you the most informative words for each of those clusters. That's what it does so far, and I'm going to be continuing to build and iterate on this because it's a way for me to improve my work, because right now I'm doing this by hand. It's getting sunny. I think I've mentioned I'm using natural light on one half and artificial light on the other half, and I'm trying to keep them in sync. And anyway, hello, everybody who's saying hi. Lalith, Enrique, Siriam, Data from India, somebody says, and Lalith says, yeah. Hello and welcome. So let's run all. I've actually done a little bit of work on this already. And if you look under here, under utility scripts, you can see that I have a couple of utility scripts that I've read in. So this one for doing keyword extraction with the Yake library, and this one for removing polite posts. And in the interim, I'll just pop this one open and see what it looks like. So this is what's called a utility script, and this is what the contest we have going on right now is about, and that ends on Monday, October 7th. So if you're interested in making a utility script and making it public, you still got time. And you can see that it has, in this case, a couple of functions, and I can use this utility script and I can import it into other notebooks, and you can tell it's utility script because it says utility script here. But I also had a couple other utility scripts that I'd written that I want to add to this code that we've been working on. So, going to my outputs, and I'm going to specifically ask for scripts, and then do I have, there we go, and then use the utility script tag just to see all my utility scripts. So you can see I have this one here that joins forum post info, and this we worked on last Wednesday. And this is a little bit nicer, so you can see that we've got all our imports at the top. We've got some doc strings in our functions that explain what they do, this little bit in the triple quotes here, right under the function definition. And I want to take this and use this to replace all of the code that I have in this notebook. Scroll. Nope, not in here. This is just my functions for now. All of this pre-processing and merging and stuff that I'm doing here, I want to do using my utility script. So let's add a utility script. What was that called? Join forum post info. That's the one. Let's add that one. And then looking in here, we can see that we have check column names. So this is a test that I wrote, and this will let us make sure that the columns that I think are in the database actually are in the database, because sometimes databases change. If any of you have worked with other folks on the same database, you are perhaps familiar with this. And then we have joining the posts and topics, and joining the posts with the forum title. So this gives us a single data frame that has information on the forum that the post came from and the topic of the forum and also the text of the forum, because right now in the Kaggle database that's in several different tables. So let's import that up here. So we've added it here, and let's call this import join forum post info as JFPI. And then we should be able to say, whoop, 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 whoop. So all of this reading in, does this also read in, or do I have to read in first? Let's see. So it checks the posts. All right. So I do need to read it in for myself. Actually, I think this is a older version of the script. I don't think this is the final version. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. So forks. So go to this fork. Excellent. All right. So I did fork and write a new version of the script that also reads in the files, and then does all of my checking, and then joins all the posts and topics together. Interesting. Okay. So I added the wrong version. I don't want this guy. Goodbye. It's got to restart. I want this version, which is up to date and does all the reading in for me. All right. Folks saying hello. Mahesh Eric Sufando from South Africa. Hello. And Abhishek. Hello. Welcome. All right. Are you done? Nope. It's still thinking. Actually, while we're having it reload anyway, let's get rid of these two guys. All right. So the reason I'm removing these is because I'm not actually using them anymore. I was using them in an earlier version of the kernel, and now I have those in a different place. So for now, I'm just getting rid of them. Refactoring. All right, and I want to add a utility script, and so I want not just my work, and then join forum. Let's see if that gives me one. Yeah, there we go, join forum post info. So I want this one, and not this one. So let's add this guy, and it has the same name, so I shouldn't need to change my imports. Reattaching the data. And the reason that this takes a little bit every time is because it's refreshing and making sure that I got all the files in the place I think the files should be. A little sip of tea. Oh, sorry. I'm trying not to slurp in the mic. Okay, so I'm not using this remove polite posts anymore, and I think I've already gotten rid of the yake guy. Excellent. So we now have this, the vectors we want, the frequency table we want. The forum posts actually we're not going to read in right now because we can do all of that using the JFPI module that I wrote earlier. And then I want to read in and join forum post info. All right, so first we just do read in forum tables, and we can see looking at this function that it's going to give us 3 outputs. So I am literally just going to copy this and assign these 3 outputs directly from the function output. I don't remember what that's called. It's called something specific in Python where you have multiple outputs and you assign each one to a, we don't need this anymore, and you assign each one to a variable at the same time. Multiple assignment, maybe? That seems like a name that it could be. So using this function that I've done previously, and then ideally I'd like to do all of the joining all at once would be great. So let's quickly run our tests as well, just so we, you know, it's not going to work. If we don't tell it what namespace to look at. So I need to make sure that I have the right namespace because it's from this module, and then join forum post info, check column names, join forum post info. It's JFPI, right? Yeah, JFPI. JFPI dot check. Check names forum posts. Nope, already have that one. Check names forums. I think that one's the forum info data frame, and then join forum post info, check column names forum topics, and then for that we want the forum topics data frame. All right, so this will load in our data, and it will really quickly make sure that we have the columns that we think that we have. So if all goes well, I should not get any output from these functions. These will only return an error if the posts that the columns I'm looking for, data validation, if the columns that I'm looking for aren't there. And so because they are there, we can do our joining. So there's two steps here. One is to join posts and topics, and the next is to join the post with forum titles. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste because I've given the things the same names. Except that it's in the join forum posts info module. And let's call this, I believe we called it forum posts previously, so let's do that. Forum posts. So once we've joined the posts and the topics, then the next thing we want to do is join the post with the forum titles. And I could just use this bit all together, but because I have to do this kind of a lot and get this exact set of information from multiple tables and then join them in the exact same way every time, it is helpful for me if it's a little bit more, yeah, I think that can be on the same line. I might be a little bit over 60 characters, but whatever. It's helpful for me if this is a more, let's actually call this post and topics, yeah, streamlined, processed. So join info from different tables. I'm just gonna make sure this runs okay. Form info df, not found. Yeah, it's because it's forums here and forum there, so let's fix that. Forums posts df. Forum topics df. Okay, so it's only the form info that's plural. That seems like something I could go back and fix, but I'm not going to do it right now. All right, that looks like that worked. You can get small. So going down here, this is all of this stuff here. And we called that forum posts. Yes, excellent. So let's actually boop you in here, get rid of this, and then move this cell down so that it is right where this cell used to be, and then bam, we get rid of it. And you can see the difference here is that I'm not directly calling on the names of the forum topics here, and I'm not doing all of this right here because it's much easier for me to remember join posts and topics than, okay, I need to get the forum topic ID and the post ID and the message and then the topics ID and then the forum ID, and then the forum topic ID is the same as the ID and the topics table and all of that. That's harder for me to understand, and I think it's harder to skim. So this is more readable, a little bit more compact, and so this is actually, all of this is replaced by these 2 lines of code. These additional 3 lines of code are data validation, so if something changes, we know about it. And then this is reading in the 3 different tables. So that's these top 2 lines of code, and also the original line of code that we have chucked entirely. So we can get rid of that. Excellent. I have thought about it quite a bit, and this guy I think I'm actually going to keep the way that it is because a lot of this processing is pretty specific. So for example, the removing HTML tags, you're not always going to want to do that in text data, or this like thing where you have to reset the index on the sample post and the sample post info. You don't always have to do that. That's more specific to this specific data set and this specific use. So I don't think it makes sense to pop this into a module. Yeah. Oh, and Abhishek says tuple unpacking, or tuple unpacking for the thing where you have the multiple assignment is what I'm going to call it. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that it's passed out as a tuple. Yeah, it must be. Because can tuples hold arrays? No. This is the part of the Python that I'm like, I know it's there. I know I don't know about it, but yeah. Simon Chan says, do you need to have context around this project or competition, or have seen the previous video to understand this video? Hopefully not. The thing that we just did was taking code that I already modularized and popping it into an existing project. And hopefully you can see why I would do that, based on my little explanation earlier. All right, so this I'm just gonna keep as is. I'm actually gonna get rid of the tokenization because right now we're not actually, oh wait, no, I don't wanna get rid of the tokenization. Escape Z, there we go. So I'm not actually using any keywords, I am just tokenizing. This bit here, I did do another one earlier. So I think if, let's see, kernels and by recently run, maybe? Form post embedding and clustering, is this the one? Nope, not it. Oh, you know what? I might not have made it public. Let me double check real quick. Because I have another modular script I've written that takes all the work that we do to take the embeddings and develop the clusters, and that is also on Kaggle. Did I make it public, though, is the question. So I'm on my admin account on my phone. I don't like to show my admin account because there's a potential I might show confidential information, and that's no good. So we're not going to do that. All right. And there was why am I not seeing everybody? I've got a live chat. Just Winter says, at Enrique, oh, where does JFPI? Yeah, so it's just a name for the this utility script that I've read in here, and I don't want to I don't want to type this every time. So it's just like import pandas as PD. It's just an abbreviation to make my life easier. Notebooks, my work. I could have sworn I made this public, but maybe I didn't. Access. Oh no, yep, it's private. All right, let's make it public. There we go. And then save. And hopefully it will show up now. All right, what if I refresh this real quick? Will this show up? And then it is specifically a script. There we go. Kaggle specific embedding cluster. So this is another modular script that I wrote, and it just takes it did take me like a good couple hours to get it all gussied up, but it takes all of the stuff that we're doing here where we get the keyword vectors and we do the clustering, and it does it in a new it does it as a module, basically. So I have read in vectors from this fine-tuned word2vec as a constant. That's why it's uppercase, because this will be the same throughout the module and when you use the module. And then it gets the vectors from the different posts. It gets the document embeddings from the posts, which are based on the vectors. So you can see that I'm getting all the vectors and I'm taking the mean. It tokenizes all of the sentences. It gets the number of posts, it gets the number of clusters, it gets the keyword sets, which are the all of the words from the form post as a set, so I'm removing repeated ones. and then it eventually gets the embeddings from posts, given the sample posts, and then it gets the spectral clusters. So this final function here actually relies on a lot of the other functions that I've written above. So it's really broken down into a lot of small parts. And hopefully it's straightforward from reading this function that what you need to do to get this number of spectral clusters is passed in the post or the text that you're interested in, which is what it says here. And it will calculate the number of clusters, it'll get the document embeddings, and then it will do the clusterings based on just that information. So there's a lot of like goose paddling under the water here, but hopefully it will make our code when we go to use it, and because I do this a lot, this clustering is something that I'm Kaggle specific. This clustering is something that I use a lot whenever I have sort of free text data, or I hope to use a lot. What about that? Embed? Oh, it still says my work. I actually want everybody's. Yes. Add it. Add it in. So what we should be able to do is keep all of this text pre-processing here, because again, this is going to be specific to my specific text that I am pre-processing. I'm going to add in the import Kaggle specific. What's that going to look like? Kaggle specific embed cluster. So this is the name that you would import. Is going to be whatever the Python file is called. Embed cluster. And I'm going to call this just embed cluster. The reason that it's Kaggle specific is because it's using for the embeddings the fine-tuned, not finely tuned, Kaggle specific embeddings. And I also need to make sure that that data set, this one, is attached to my kernel, because we need to read it in the process of using this particular, what's it called, module. Enrique says, you need your own code snippets. Is that possible on Kaggle? I'd say utility scripts are like code snippets, similar. And Saram says, is this the same as doc2vec? No, it is much dumber. So what we did was we took the embedding for all of the words. They're of dimension 300. We stacked them on top of each other, and then we took the column-wise mean. doc2vec is something that we could use in the future. All right. So, and I'm actually going to do something kind of weird, and I'm just going to run this cell, just this command in a new cell, and then I'll delete that cell, because this one takes a little bit to run, because it's running in the, it's reading in the vectors and doing a little bit of re-indexing so that we can work with them a little bit more easily. But once we've done that and that cell is done running, what we should be able to do is, do we do the tokenizing in here? I don't remember. Tokenizing. We do. So we can get rid of this famous last words. I fully expect something to break because of the refactoring. I'm fully expecting that will have done something wrong. So we don't need to do any of this. So let's just call this embed and cluster forum posts. So sample posts is the name of the posts. I think it's a series. I think it's a single column. Zitrone says on Twitch, doc2vec is not that much better than taking the mean. All right. Good to know. I would really like to use the sentence embeddings, universal sentence embeddings from Google, but it's based on TensorFlow, and I'm not using TensorFlow for anything else, so it would be a commitment to tooling. All right, so add some code. So what we should be able to do, you're done running? Excellent. All right, goodbye. Because I was just running that in one cell, so I didn't have to reread the whole thing, and I just had to reread this specific thing. And I think also I can get rid of this vectors. famous last words. Well, when we commit this, we'll see whether I've done a good job replacing stuff. And what do we call it? We called it embed_cluster. Yeah. So for here, we should be able to just use one function called get spectral clusters and pass in the sample posts. I think it's just called sample posts. And then let's assign this to clustering, because that's what we've assumed that it's going to be called later on in our pipeline. Fingers crossed. Name sample posts is not defined. Right. Okay. So it's because we restarted it since we read the last thing. So I'm gonna get rid of you. I think I do need the number of clusters further on. Forum post state. All right. So let's run everything above. What's this? It's under here, right? Run before. So this should run everything down to where we want to go. And if this works, it'll get rid of a lot of code. The size of our notebook is going to be basically half. Alpha Mustafa says, why are you so zoomed in? So you guys can read. If I zoom much more out, I don't think you can see very good. But yeah. Sram says it's Murphy's Law, that something will probably break. I would not be surprised. All right, so you've been run. Why were not the rest of you run? All right, so this should load in all of our data frames, do our data validation, and then combine them. That worked. Now we're doing our pre-processing. And again, I'm not putting this into a module because this is specific for my particular project. All right, so it's a warning. And now this should take care of all the embedding and all the unclustering and give us the clusters back. Alpha Mustafa, what programming language is this? This is Python 3. And just a reminder for those of you, all right, let's see if this works. We'll see if it works. Just a reminder for those of you, it worked! Using Python 2, it has entered its end of life. If you have the capacity, please switch. Celebratory tea. It worked. I'm a little surprised, I will admit. All right, so now we can see the cluster of counts and then the surprising words. And this is stuff that we also worked on. And this, I think, could be the next thing that we modularize is this getting the surprising words. Speaking of modularizing, let's get rid of the posts we don't need. So vectors from post, I don't think we need. Bye-bye. Doc embedding from post, we do not need. Goodbye. C-word post, nope. Post info by cluster, we do still need. Remove HTML tags, we do still need. Do we use this anywhere else? Nope. Wait. I spoke too soon. Where is the other place where it is used? Yeah, okay. That's the first one. Where's the second one? Okay, yeah, no, I don't think we use it. Goodbye. Removing it. This is one of those days where we write negative lines of code. Polite post index, this one we are still using, so we moved that, instead of having it in the module that we imported, we've actually moved it into the body of our notebook, because I think this is part of the pre-processing pipeline, and I also think it's specific to this project, so I don't want to go to the trouble of maintaining a module. Citron says rip Python 2. Absolutely, pour one out. How do you increase coding speed? I mean, it helps if you've written the code ahead of time. That's always helpful. And also tab complete a lot, I'd say would be my best help, my best idea. So this we're going to keep, and it has a doc string, so we know what's going on here. This we need to keep it, so this is for getting the information on what's in the different clusters, so that we're going to keep. And this is also getting the most surprising words. So I think that's all we can get rid of from there. That we can get rid of as well, because that's what we're doing in this. All right. All right, that's good, that's good. We've gotten our surprising words for a specific cluster. That's a lot of surprising words. Usually we're getting like 3 to 4 per cluster, so that might be... So these are words that have a normalized log frequency that is higher than the expected normalized log frequency given the entire corpus. So if a word gets used a lot more in one of our clusters than it does in the entire corpus, it'll be returned as one of these surprising words. All right, and I think cluster counts. Yeah, I think this guy can actually go. I think this was a little bit of a testing function, so I don't think we actually need that in our code. Saram says, you can try cutting the function signature line to find other instances of the function name. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm intrigued. Yeah, if you have space in the comments, if you could type some more information, I'd appreciate that. All right, so what this is doing is it's going through each of our clusters and it's getting information on the surprising words, and it's going to return it to us as a data frame, and then we're writing that data frame to HTML. So this is, I think, the next thing that we can embed. Saram says, is normalized log frequency a fancy way of term frequency inverse document frequency? No, because it's not. So term frequency inverse documents frequency assumes that each text has a mix of each text has a mix of topics, and each topic is a mix of terms. I am just looking at the most discriminative terms for a specific cluster, and I'm not assuming that there's any sort of mix of topics. And as a result, it's much faster. The big thing with TF-IDF is it can be... No, sorry. All of that stuff I said about mixes is definitely LDA and not TF-IDF. Yeah, it's much closer to TF-IDF. I'm out of T. Yeah. Oh, I see. So Saram says, I was searching for something, which I think was remove thanks. And he was saying that if I like removed it from the text and then searched again, I should see it. See, helpful. All right, and now if we look at size df, we should see that we have, oh, that's right, we have the size of the cluster. So we have this really big cluster that has a lot of characteristic words in it. We have this cluster that's about a quarter of the size where people are talking about things like Euclidean, scale invariant, delta price. This looks like where people are talking about a specific problem, time series, I would say it looks like. This one is it to this for if can data how? Okay, noted. And then below that we have, looks like people talking about a specific library and conda maybe, and then maybe an empty stat, somebody talking about fast.ai, someone talking about the client, one of the clients, maybe the Kaggle client, maybe like a GCP client, I don't know. And then somebody asking for upvotes. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do now. One thing I could do is I could take all of the salience information and make it more module and pop it into a new module and do that. But the other thing that I really want to do is have this report out be a little bit more useful, and I want to be able to see what posts are associated with each cluster. I don't think we're going to get very far on that in 20 minutes. So let's take all of this work on saliency, and let's take that and pop it into a module. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit, and then I'm going to look at the commit. I'm going to make sure it runs without errors, because I've changed a lot of things, and I want to make sure I change them in a good way. And that's going to take a second. And while that is happening, what I'm going to do, the fastest way to take code, a Kaggle notebook and make it more modular, is to start by creating a fork, so copying and editing. And you're like, Rachel, this is a notebook. You want to make a script. Well, my friend, you can turn Kaggle notebooks into scripts very easily and back and forth. So if you then wanted to take it and make it something else, you could do that as well. All right. So the frequency table we do want. This I don't care about. This I don't care about. I do want some things from the utility functions, and I think everything below here is not going to be goodbye, 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 goodbye. Peace out. Okay, this I might save because it might be helpful for us to get the size information out along with the saliency. So sort of like characterizing clusters. And goodbye. Okay, so here's all the things I have so far. I don't need to get the vectors from posts. I don't need to get the document embeddings from posts. I don't need to get post info by cluster. That I might need. Goodbye. Remove HTML tags I definitely don't need. Remove thanks I don't need. So basically I want to have only the functions that take these, get rid of these guys, peace out. So basically I want to take only these functions that create information on the, what words are most important, and then have just those functions in a module. Because you can imagine, I don't necessarily want to have a single module that does the embedding and the clustering and the getting the information on the important words and the data reading in and the data cleaning, because that's not necessarily going to fit well into other projects, right? Later on, I might just want the salience information, or I might just want the embedding and clustering. And I did just want the embedding and clustering, which is why I happen to have this one I made earlier, which I try not to do a whole lot on the channel. So these I'm gonna keep. I don't think I need the tokenizer. So I want just the things that I need for this particular project. Okay, so I am keeping in this frequency table. Frequency table, and I'm turning this to uppercase because this is going to be a constant that we read in as part of the module. From here, let's see, I'm just going to double, whoop, nope. Double check, no, I'm trying to copy, there we go. Okay, yeah, no, I do need this because this particular function relies on it. Okay, cluster index, post data, and then cluster object. So this has got to be a data frame or a series. No, this must be a data frame that has information about the posts. We're doing some pre-processing here. And then getting the frequency distribution of the words. Do I want to do all of this in a single function, or do I want to break out this pre-processing into a separate function? think I do. Def post info post processing. Nope. Yes. And then we want to return words. And that way, if you didn't need to do this for a specific post, you could just omit using this function, is the idea. All right. And then we're actually going to need, I think, the same info in, so cluster data, post data, cluster object. And then let's write a little doc string for this. Custom it's pre-processing because it happens before the other things that we're doing. Custom pre-processing for our cluster text. Okay. And then I should be able to do all of this, and then words equals, just so each function is, again, doing one thing. So this function isn't both doing the pre-processing and also getting the creating a dictionary for the saliency information. It's just creating a dictionary for the saliency information, and then the pre-processing is happening in a different function that we're calling from this function. Again, very functional. All right. Yeah, and I do need all that information from there. Number data cluster, cluster index, post data, cluster object. I'm wondering if I can make this so that I don't have to pass in quite so many things each time. Ooh, let's open the version. It looks like it ran without errors. And as you can see, we dropped 113 lines of code. Thank you. I mean, not net, but we removed that many, so that's good. And we get out the sorts of things that we're looking for. And if we open up if we download the cluster report, you can see, here's the information on the size of the cluster, and then here are the distinctive words. So it looks like people are using a lot of code samples, and that's why scale invariance, K-clustering probably isn't from code, but it looks like a lot of these other words are from code, and people presumably asking for and getting technical help, I like to think. Excellent. And you'll notice that these are a little bit, these clusters are a little bit different, and that's because the spectral clustering algorithm that we're using is non-deterministic. So you're going to get different clusters out every time, but in general, it looks like it's more or less the same content. Okay. So that works. All right. Okay, so the number we would pass in through an iterator to let us loop through things. The data is information about the post, and the cluster is the cluster object. So this is what we get out of the clusterer. And I'm actually going to change this to cluster object and this to cluster object, just because I think that's a little bit clearer what that is and what they need. And this line's a little long, so I'm going to break it across a couple of lines. I don't think that one needs a doc string. I think it's pretty straightforward what it does. And the reason that I have this in a function is because I think that sorry, I'm trying to think if I do want this as a separate function. It's very small. Meh, what the hey. Lots of small pieces is not necessarily a bad thing. And from there we get this get cluster saliency dictionary. Return dictionary. Oh, okay. So here we're returning two things. So we're returning the dictionary with the cluster information, and then the frequency distribution. And frequency distribution for clusters. To store our info. All right, that works. And then get surprising words. So what do we need here? So we're passing in the cluster index. Where do we use that? Get cluster saliency dictionary. Okay, we're passing in the frequency table, which we have made. Actually, because it's a constant, I don't think we actually have to pass it in, because it's already in our namespace and exists. So I think we can actually get rid of that. Post data is the information on the post, and then the cluster object is the cluster object. And I think the reason that we're doing cluster index is so that we can loop through this. So let's keep that for now. Because you might also only want to get one cluster information. So I think I'm okay with having that rather than having this function go through all of the clusters by default. So what this returns is just the surprising words. Returns words with higher log frequency in cluster, normalized log frequency in cluster than in Kaggle forums overall. All right. All right, so good surprising words. I think this will actually keep in our original dictionary, in our original notebook. I don't think we want to move this into the module. Yeah, because this is going to be specific to your data structure. I mean, a lot of these things are kind of specific to data structures. Let's pretend that they're not. And this is just... let's say... Let's make sure this is post data, post data, post data. Just make that a little bit more clear, I think. No, not what I wanted. Let's see. Post data should be a... That's not the most helpful comment, but I think that's the thing that's most likely to go wrong. Cluster from spectral clustering. Because it's assuming that this cluster object... Ho-ho! Almost ran into trouble there, huh? So it's assuming that this cluster object is from sklearn. Scikit-learn. Scikit-lean for when you can't be straight anymore. All right, this looks like I've just copied and pasted something incorrectly. All right, so from here, I'm going to turn this into a script. There you go, and you can see it just changes into a script. Oh, I actually don't want any of this. Peace out. Cluster index, post data, cluster object. Okay, I think that's pretty straightforward. And I do need to pass in multiple objects because I do need to know what the I do need to know what the index of the cluster that I'm looking at is. I do need to know where the information about the post is stored, and I do need to know I need to get information from the cluster object as well. So there's no way for me to make this only have one input. That's what I was thinking about. All right, and now let's call you get surprising words. All right, and then let's make you a utility script. All right, and it's a toggle, so I can't be clicking it an even number of times and wanting it to be a utility script. That's not going to work. All right, looks like it ran without errors. And you can see we're skipping some lines because there's some kind of messy data in the thingadoodle. All right, so the next thing I want to do is actually kernel/new. Will that work? Hey, nice. I actually want to start a new notebook, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a linter to check my code and see that it is of good quality. So let's add a utility script. Get surprising words, the very one that I wanted. How did you know? Wait for that to run, and then I'm going to use pylint. You can also use linter for R, L-I-N-T-R, and this will just give me information on my script file. I'll run through and run a bunch of checks on it. Import pylint. There we go. And then bang, pylint. And then what is my module called? Get surprising words. Get Will tab complete work? No. Surprising words. And it's probably going to give me a bunch of warnings. There we go. All right, let's check it out. Wrong continued indentation, add 1 space on line 21. Oh, so it is. There we go. That's fixed. Trailing white space, unnecessary parentheses after return. Oh, that's right. That's right. This is my favorite thing to do, and I don't actually ever need to do it in... Let's get rid of all y'all. Bo, 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 bo. Bo, 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 bo. All right. No space allowed around keyword assignment. And that's me being R-ful. So in R, you do want spaces around your equal sign when you're doing keyword assignment, and in Python you do not. And that was helpful. Ooh, a little extra space there. Okay, got that. Trailing white space, unnecessary parens, line too long. Line 69, just too long. Yeah, I don't think I can make this any shorter without breaking the math, though, unfortunately. So I'm just going to ignore that. Trailing white space, no white space allowed. I already got that one. Final new line missing. Oh, that's right. You always got to do an extra new line at the end. I always forget about that. All right, and here we have all of the modules I forgot not to import. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see that one. So, unable to import, removing polite posts and join forum post data. Get rid of y'all. Boop-doo. Peace out. And then the ones that I didn't use, unused freq, F-R-E-Q. F-R-E-Q. I would agree that it's unused because I can't find it. I'll take y'all's word on that one. Unused didn't use you. Pretty sure I used pandas. Unused date time, peace out, don't need that. Time delta, square root from math. Actually, I don't think I use square root or floor. Yep, correct. Unused spectral clustering from scikit-learn. Peace out, don't need you. Unused numpy. Oh, I'm a little surprised. I guess it's imported as a dependency of pandas, so since I was using pandas, I have it for free. Unused pyplot, that is correct. I did not make any plots. Did I use flash text? Unused keyword processor, unused string, unused regex tokenizer. Didn't use you. Keyword processor, string. Pretty sure I used NLTK. And then we should import the standard imports first. So I think math should be first, and then iter tools, and then pandas, and then NLTK, I think. Math import, blah, blah, blah. Imports from package maths are not grouped. And then I got a score of negative 1.7. But I think having made some of our improvements and getting rid of all the libraries we're not actually using, we should see a little bit of an improvement. So let's commit you again. Well, that's committing. Just gonna kick that out, wait for it to finish committing, and then add a new version. I think it actually does update, but it takes like a second, and I'm not willing to wait. So, Strom says, "Do you say no after trying it? I'm judging you for tab complete." Yeah. Yeah, it didn't have it. Well, it makes sense because I haven't actually imported it into the namespace, so it makes sense. And David says, "That's an improvement from -6. It is. It is. I'm getting better at not pretending that Python style guides don't exist. That's an area where I've personally improved. All right, add you. Give it a second to restart. David says Pylint is a good habit. Yeah, it's helping. It's definitely helping me. I tend to have a lot of R language code smell in my code. So I think if you have watched me code for a while and are very familiar with Python, you're probably like, yeah, she does some things in a kind of an R-y way. All right, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Trailing whitespace, trailing whitespace. Well, line too long. Missing doc string for the module. Meh. Unused variable freak. Line 74, column 15. Line 74. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what's happening. So the reason that I'm getting this this error is because fdist.moccommon uses tuple unpacking, I think we called it, or multiple assignment. So if I don't have the word and also the frequency and give them both names and do something with them, I won't be able to do this with just the word, and I don't know how to get just the word information out of most common. So that's why that is. So I'm just gonna ignore that, and we are at 5.5 out of 10. And I'm just gonna ignore the trailing whitespace. I like to give myself room to breathe, you know, in my functions. Like, whitespace is basically free. Doesn't bother me that much. And I could make this a little bit better. I could make it a pipe using PyJanitor, I think it's called. It's a Python implementation of the janitor package from R. But I'm too lazy, so I'm not gonna do that. All right, so let's refresh this guy and then add in our package and use that to get the surprising words instead of the custom functions that we're using in here at the moment. So also I will tell you right now, we're not using pyplot anywhere in here, so let's get that guy out. So we want to add utility script. Now that we've linted it and we know that it runs, let's add this guy. Can we delete this from in here? Nope, we can delete the cell. All right, I'll delete that later. All All right, and then we should be able to say import surprising words as get, nope, that's not how that works. Import get surprising words, which should be get surprising words, right, as surprising words. All right, so run that guy. That should hopefully run with no errors. Now we can get rid of this get saliency, cluster saliency dict, and get surprise words. Get rid of all of that. Killing it with the deleting lines of code today. Scroll on down to down here. Get post info by cluster, which I believe is now in oh, is it still running? Yeah, it's still running. And that makes sense because this and this both read in a pretty hunky data file. Like big is what I mean by hunky there. Cheryl says, glad I found an ML streamer. Glad you joined us. All right. Oh, okay. So I'm getting some tips is to use the underscore. So here, where I have this thing that I'm not going to use, replacing it with an underscore ignores the returned value. And that is from like 4 other people. Yer and Jess Winder and Cigar and Yer again. Thanks, guys. I learned something today. I like to learn something every day, and it's easy because there's many things I don't know. All right, let's commit this guy. All right. And I'm just going to keep get post info by cluster here as well. I mean, we are going to have the same function twice in the namespace, but A, it's very small. And B, I use it a lot. Rachel, it could be more compact. I know. Hush. Brain. Voice. All right, and I think the only thing that we need to change here, let's look at the get surprising words. Cluster index, post data, cluster objects, is we do not need to pass in the frequency table because that has been read in as a constant. And it is from surprising words. Let's see if that runs. People said not on line 71. In line 71, not in line 57. I don't think I use it either place, to be honest. Let me check. Oh, you're right. I do use it there. Whoops-a-doopsie. Yeah, okay, so that one's unused. This one, this frequency, is absolutely used. So let's commit that again so that we have a working version and not a broken version. Also, if you guys haven't seen, you can set up notifications when your kernel finishes running. That's another one that's kind of new, which I believe it's in your notification setting. Yeah, so you can see here under your notification setting, you can, adjust how many emails and notifications you get. And if you want an email when your kernel run is complete, you can toggle this to say that, hey, send me an email when my kernel run is complete. If you're working with a long running kernel, that can be nice. All right, and do make sure all notifications are on. So you can toggle off all notifications if you don't like the little bell. But, I find that they are helpful for me, and hopefully also they are helpful for you. And Equator Zero says, is this Python? This is Python. Abhinav says, Rachel's using 3 interactive kernels at the same time. I think I was up to 3 very briefly. Oh, that reminds me, I do want to delete that kernel that I was just using for linting. Stop. What one was that? I was called CCA5. Peace out, CCA5. All right. All right, and it looks like it works, and we get the things out that we expect to get out. So we have, let's commit this guy. So we have removed, with the one that we just did, probably like 150 lines of code from our kernel, which makes it a lot more compact. And because we have all of these little pieces that we can put together in different ways, I can use them in different places. Speaking of using things in different places, let me make this public so y'all can use this too if you're looking for it. And this could use a little bit of refactoring. In particular, I'm making pretty strong assumptions about the post data. Am I actually? Maybe I'm not. All right. Well, so you could go through and rejigger it so that it would work with things that weren't data frames, because right now it'll only work with a data frame. But and let's make this public. All right, make public. And it's still running, and it is 10:07. So I'm sorry for y'all who are just joining. We are wrapping up. Esrol says, is there another chat? Yes. So I'm keeping track of both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, multitasking. Great tips today, everybody. Thank you for helping me. I hope this was also helpful for you to see how I go back and start to clean up my code and make it like a little bit better. There's still a lot of work to do. I wouldn't hand this to one of my software engineering colleagues yet because I'm very self-conscious about my code. But I think it's definitely better than it was when we started. It's a lot more modular. We have different utility scripts that we can use in different places now. And it's a lot more compact. And I think just skimming through it, it's a little bit easier to understand what it's doing is my... what would I call that? That's what I think. Opinion. That's the one. Whew. Okay, I think it's time for second coffee. I'll see you guys on Wednesday when we are going to continue reading the symbolic math paper. And yeah, I'm going to definitely need my coffee before that one. There you go. So it looks like overall about 150 lines of code have been removed. All right, thanks for joining me today, guys. I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.